any higher than that and there is a clear separation like this one, even on highways and roundabouts.
Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to watch why Netherlands is very well designed. And we always hear about the European culture, and I have heard that Netherlands have very good, it is known as a bike country.
Oh.
A bike, that means bicycle.
Bicycle, huh? I have seen the pictures of Amsterdam and I've seen the reels and I have seen the tulips of Amsterdam, and specifically I know Netherlands for Amsterdam, and I've seen people, driving like from one place to another with the help of bicycle.
Yeah, so it is a bike city, that bike country that they know of, and it is very well made. Everything infrastructure wise very good. So it is the first time we are going to see it properly, that what it is all about. So let's watch this video.
This is a map of bike path density in Europe. All the
Wow.
purple lines are bike
See
paths.
the Netherlands?
And if you divert your attention to the
There.
left part of this map,
Amsterdam.
you'll see
Capital.
a coastal country
Total
with a
pink.
lot of purple lines. This
Purple.
is the Netherlands, a densely populated country that knows a thing or two about designing brilliant infrastructure.
Wow.
And the bike paths play a significant role in that. See, with a population of 17.4 million people and a landmass of approximately 41,500 square kilometers, the Netherlands is smaller in size yet more densely populated than most European countries. So, in order to navigate that, they've come up with effective and interesting ways to handle population movement in and around their country. The most notable of which is, of course, the cycling infrastructure.
Wow.
And yes, it is as serious as everybody says it is, as it enables the 23 million bikes that are in the Netherlands to roam the streets. And by the way, 23 million bikes means that there are 1.3 bikes per capita.
More bikes than
Absolutely
people.
insane. I mean, what would the bike per capita be in the
crazy.
United States? Maybe 0.5?
Yeah.
What? It's 0.3. That would mean if you met an American, there is a greater chance they're obese than them owning a bicycle.
Yeah.
Mad. Anyway, when you combine the Netherlands' bike infrastructure with its amazing public transport, you get a ridiculously smooth and efficient system.
Wow.
Here's how it works in
No
Amsterdam.
cars.
Commuters will use their bikes to get to and enter transit stations, where they simply park their bikes in these enormous bike parking
It's
garages.
a very different
Then
way
they'll
to
travel
park
on
them.
either a bus, tram or train to their final destination.
Wow.
But most of the time the fastest and most convenient option is simply taking the bikes to the final destination. But why is cycling the most convenient option? What has the Netherlands done for this to be the case? Well, the country has made cycling incredibly easy, with 32,000 kilometers of bike lanes that aren't just a small strip along a heavily trafficked road. Now, the Dutch do things differently. They have marked out red asphalt pavements like this strictly for cyclists.
Okay.
The only time cars and bikes end up on the same road is when the speed limit is less than 30 kilometers an hour and car volume is low. Any higher than that and there is a clear separation like this one, even on highways and roundabouts. But the Netherlands is a whole lot more than just biking and their capital city, Amsterdam. And to be honest, the most impressive infrastructure in the Netherlands is not even in Amsterdam. To see that, we have to go to Utrecht, a city that lies right here
Utrecht.
south
Utrecht.
of Amsterdam. It hosts the largest bike parking facility in the world,
Parking
room to
lot.
park over 12,500 bicycles, and it has 24/7 camera surveillance. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. There's no way this can be replicated in other countries. This is alien-like.
Actually.
But that's a myth. And there's a very simple reason for that. Just take a look at Rotterdam. During World War II, the city was practically demolished and looked, well, like this. The Dutch had to rebuild everything, and they chose to go for an automobile-centered design, which is exactly how North American cities were built too. And considering where the Netherlands is today, it's crazy to think that many Dutch cities were heading in this direction too. But by the 70s, Rotterdam residents were tired of major road fatalities and plummeting cycling and walking culture. So they demanded reform.
Wow.
And the regulators listened. Public transportation was then heavily invested in, and roads were rebuilt to facilitate bike lanes.
Wow.
After which, cycling regained its popularity. This just goes to show that even North American cities can do this.
India is also completely car based, and everything is like India is also based on cars, and also the thing is like we are also completely messed up because of all the other things that are on the roads. So but this is something very respectful.
Also I have heard that even Japanese people also prefer bicycles.
Oh,
Like they
nice.
also used to travel with that.
But there is nothing to match this.
Yeah,
This
definitely.
is
This is
next
crazy.
level craziness.
Is if they choose to do so. But the determinism and people-centered planning of the Netherlands extends out of the cities and into Dutch suburbs as well. To bring this point home, let's compare typical Dutch suburbs to those in a state that's just
wow.
as bustling and growing. In the United States, Florida. Now sure, Florida is 3.4 times larger than the Netherlands, but the argument should still stand. So here is a typical Miami suburb. What do you notice? There's a lot of greenery, but mostly there's a lot of roads, and
Yeah,
they're
big
specifically
roads.
made for cars.
Yeah.
Sure, there are sidewalks, but they are thin and can barely accommodate a cycler and pedestrian at the same time. And now let's look at a Dutch suburb. The homes here are much smaller, and that's an important detail, as it leaves more space for communal centers like parks and proper biking and walking lanes separated from the road by greenery. I can definitely understand
They don't
that it
have
seems
lawn,
like a
right?
sacrifice to have smaller homes, but what you
But
get in
smaller
return
roads.
is efficiency. And if time is the most valuable thing we have, then this system is superior. And while Dutch efficiency
Like the
has
parking
become
system.
somewhat of a trademark
World's
for the
best
country,
parking system,
things
I would say.
weren't always so blissful and enviable. You see, technically speaking, a large part of the Netherlands should not exist, and this is what amazes me the most. See, the Netherlands was notorious for constant flooding thanks to its low elevation and closeness to the North Sea. But the Dutch have found a way to beat the ocean multiple times. This is the reason why nearly 20% of the land in the Netherlands is reclaimed land from the many marshes, swamps, lakes, and of course the sea.
Dutch people are
How?
crazy.
Well, two words. Delta works. After a deadly storm in 1953 that covered over 150,000 hectares of land and took the lives of an estimated 2,000 people, the Dutch decided something had to be done. Delta Works was the answer. Delta Works is a vast network of 13 dams and barriers, featuring sluices, locks, dikes, and levees. They shelter off these 4 inlets, namely Haringvlietdam, Roeversdam, Worcesterscheldekering, and Verzegatdam. I'm
Verzegatdam.
sorry, Dutch people, I tried my best. Anyway, they used these to reduce the coastline by 700 kilometers and remove the need for smaller and weaker levees and dams that would require constant maintenance.
Wow.
Pretty ingenious, I gotta say.
Actually.
But the Dutch haven't just prevented floodings, they've also created new land. And they achieved this without using modern technology.
Those
How?
water.
Well, first they would section off the areas they wanted to reclaim. Whereafter they would drain the water out by harvesting the energy of the wind using, of course, windmills. This created flat plains comprised of a very unique soil that happens to be perfect for growing tulips. And this is why the Netherlands
Wow.
account for 80% of the world's tulip exports, which is kind of strange to think about. But today, these waters and innovations have earned the Netherlands some pretty envious titles, including the largest storm surge barrier in the world, that laid the ground for the largest and most efficient seaport in Europe, the port of Rotterdam. Located here in the delta of the Rhine and Meuse rivers, Rotterdam is in a perfect strategic location for ships coming from or going into the North Sea. To understand the sheer size of this port, here is a map of Manhattan laid on top. As you can see, the port of Rotterdam is about 1.5 times the size of Manhattan. It's huge, and with 82.5% of the Netherlands' GDP coming from exports, it's fair to say that the port of Rotterdam is really important. I could go on and on about this port's efficiency, but all you need to know is that it wins Best Port Infrastructure year after
Best
year.
port
The Dutch are
infrastructure,
incredibly
wow.
talented at designing great infrastructure.
Dutch
I
people
mean,
are
just
so
look at
good
the
with
Amsterdam
this.
airport, Schiphol, the 3rd busiest
Schiphol.
airport in Europe. It looks pretty average
Amsterdam
until you
airport.
consider the number of people moving through this structure. Schiphol facilitates 68 to 80 million passengers
Wow.
annually to 332 direct destinations, utilizing its 6 runways facing multiple directions. Schiphol coordinates an average of 1,500 to 1,600 departures and landings per day,
So
giving them
many.
an hourly average of 110 to 120 aircrafts. And Schiphol
100
accomplishes
aircraft per
this
hour.
despite being smaller than other major airports like Adolfo Suarez Madrid in Spain or the Leonardo da Vinci International Airport in Italy. The best thing about this airport though is that once passengers arrive, they have a number of transportation options, as the high-speed Thalys and Columbus trains can be accessed just beneath the terminal building. From here,
Wow.
you can take a 15-minute ride to the Amsterdam Central Station, or use the Dutch rail network to travel across the country. Honestly, you could go anywhere from here. if trains aren't your
Their
style, then
designs
the airport offers affordable
crazy.
express buses as well. The funny thing about this airport though is that it's 4 meters below sea level, sitting on what used to be Haarlem Lake. But all in all though, the Netherlands is an overload of intelligent design, and while some people might think it's nearly impossible to implement these methods into other countries, the reality is these methods can be replicated any place in the world if the people and leadership are willing to collaborate and listen to one another and invest in infrastructure that is people, environment and future centered.
Netherlands is a crazy place, and I think so it is because people also were very good at it, because like how we saw in Rotterdam, people were like, we don't want all these cars and every accidents, we want free roads, we want to walk, we want to do this and that, and this you rarely see in places all the other countries. And also like how government is into like creativity and smart infrastructure. It is not just building things and just building buildings and buildings, it is doing interesting thing, very smart. Everything is so well connected, integrated, and you can do it. It is just a model country to be in.
Definitely. And before watching this video, I was just only like pretty things and tulips and this and that. But Netherlands is also, you know, like a very creative country, I would say. Like Dutch have done, you know, in 1953, that flood came, and then they just created 13 dams, and it was like so well maintained. So they have done all the things with planning, and also the parking system like they have. You know, I was thinking that they don't have a lawn, but it was like properly made, and everything was systematic, I would say.
Actually, and how they have made it, and like it just wants me to go to Netherlands even more.
Yeah.
It is previously it
Definitely.
was like, okay, Amsterdam is one of the best places, but now I want to go to these all other places also that have been so well like made out. So what do you guys think about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
Subscribe.
bye.
Bye.